Stop overthinking your resume. When you overcomplicate just about anything, the little things end up getting missed. Try not to write your resume from your perspective. Write it from a hiring manager or a recruiter's perspective instead. So, what is their perspective, you ask? They will call people back who they believe can do the job with as minimal risk as possible. They want their bosses to pat them on the back and say, well done, finding the perfect person for the job. That's it. That's all they want. And to get paid well for it, of course. You want to know what I saw as a hiring manager and what I see as a recruiter are the most common reasons resumes get overlooked? Number one, the person isn't qualified for the job. This is 100% the number one reason. Number two's not even close. Now, do I think you should punch above your weight class a little when it comes to finding a job? Sometimes, especially in a job seekers market. But unfortunately, we're not in a job seekers market right now. It's going to be a little more difficult to punch above your weight class right now because hiring managers are calling back job seekers who pretty much match the job description perfectly because that's what companies are wanting right now. So the point I'm trying to make is if you don't have the experience for a specific job, and you'll know that based on the job description once you read it, you're probably not going to get the call back. So here's an example that I think most people will relate to. If your most recent experience was that you were a customer service representative, meaning you were an individual contributor, so no one reported to you, trying to get a job as a customer service manager is going to be more difficult in this job market. Let me show you what I mean. So let's pretend you are a customer service representative. You've been looking for a job for a while and you run into this company called Uline and you happen to live in or near Kenosha, Wisconsin. And you're like, you know what? This job actually looks like something I could do based on the job description. I know I haven't been a manager before, but I'm looking at the responsibilities, train team leads, do that now. I'm a mentor, manage the daily activities of customer service departments. I don't necessarily do that, but I get asked for my input quite often, and I get asked to oversee things when the managers are in a meeting, partner with other managers and team leads to enhance team performance. Like I said, I'm a mentor, so I do that now. They ask for my input. I sit in the meetings. I help with the presentations, all that good stuff. Evaluate team procedures, identify areas of improvement. Same thing. I already do that. I've been there for years. My opinion holds weight. Maybe I'm not reviewing as many reports or suggesting as many ways to increase efficiency, but I could if I wanted to. So I can find a way to talk about how I suggest ways to increase efficiency in the job interview. I know enough about it just from speaking to other managers. So I'm gonna say this is a half yes. And then let's say it says resolved escalated customer issues promptly. Anybody who's worked in customer service knows that anybody has done this. So there may be higher level issues, the more you get up in the rankings, but if this is what they're asking for, then everybody's done it. Then you look down at the minimum requirements and you're like, ugh, I don't have any management experience, but I really know I can do this job. I have a bachelor's degree. I have 8 years of customer service experience, and maybe I haven't done as much of an ability to effectively coach and develop a high performing team, but I know I can. I've went through leadership training. I've been a mentor, all this good stuff. I don't see why I shouldn't be able to apply to a place like this. This is right up my alley. So we pretended that you are a customer service representative looking to get into management because you're long overdue, right? But when you looked at the job description, it is explicitly asking for management experience. And let me just say this because I've seen this in customer related roles the most. Yes, I understand you've probably been in your role way too long. And I also understand that you can probably do the job as a customer service manager better than some of the current managers that are out there, probably a lot of them. But on paper, the experience isn't there, and that's what they look for. Why? Because companies are risk averse. Almost too much, if you ask me, because A lot of these jobs, I'm like, you need to chill out. This is PR, not ER. Relax. But they're not in the mood to change anything right now when it comes to hiring new people. But that's where a good recruiter can come in because a good recruiter can suggest maybe a team lead position and help you get into a role like that. It may not have that management title that you want, but at least you're halfway there and you're one step closer to being in that management position. And as a recruiter, even if I thought about sending over a resume to a company with no management experience, when they explicitly stated that they want management experience, I could risk losing that client. I could get in a lot of trouble for doing that. Another reason resumes get overlooked is misspellings, grammatical errors, and unclear sentence structures. Now, with all the tools out there to check for grammatical errors, misspellings, and now, quite frankly, sentence structure, this is a no-no because you really don't want to go through all of that hard work, putting your resume together and your cover letter together, only to lose out on getting an interview over that. But it's common, unfortunately. I used to spend way more time than I like to admit looking up the spellings of words because I was so paranoid about it, to be honest. Even if it didn't have that little red squiggly line under it, I'm like, are we sure? Maybe the computer didn't catch it and I just need to double check and see and make sure I didn't miss a letter. Because I would hate for that to be what sticks out like a sore thumb when someone's looking at my resume. But like I said, with all the tools that are available now, with AI, this should be much easier to control now moving forward. I still see it often enough for me to mention it here. Listen, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I see too many people overcomplicating it. Instead of focusing on the resume being one page or two page or whatever the case may be, focus on the content within the resume. Here's the most simple answer I can give you. Look at the job description. Your answers are right there. The company is telling you exactly what they're looking for, and they're telling you exactly what they're looking for because if you qualify, they want to hire you. They don't want to go around in circles doing all these interviews and talking to a bunch of different candidates. They want you in the door if you are a match for what they need. So here's how I approach it. First, attempt to write out your resume with all of your skill sets. Just do this without even looking at a job description yet. Look up a generic resume template and just use that to put your resume together. All you're doing right now is you're gathering information and you're brainstorming. The reason why you should do this first without looking anything up is because A, it will keep you honest, and B, it does show a little bit of your individuality. Then you might as well take advantage of our little AI friends and use it to get an idea of where to start. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's an example of a job I pulled up from some company called LiveCore, and they are looking for a project manager. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm a person who has a customer success background, specializing in data analytics, and then I was a customer success manager. So I pulled up the job description. I looked through it, yada yada yada. Looked through the job summary, scrolled through that, went to the important piece, which is what kind of background do they want me to have? So they want 6 to 8 years of complex projects and initiatives, problem solving, written and verbal communication, understanding of full project life cycle, Microsoft Office, Asana, project management tools, so on and so forth. They want data analytics, all of the things that make up what a project manager is. But they also would like, and this is a plus, so it's not required, is experience in multifamily real estate. So that's their plus. So they were popping that in here. And then they're also, putting what they offer, so on and so forth, how much they're paying. They do have a base between 130 and 145K. And then they also have that the job is eligible for bonus once a year. Great. So first, I wrote out my resume from scratch before even looking at any of these job descriptions or anything like that. Then I started looking for jobs and I came across this one, looking for a project manager. I said, "Oh, okay, this is kind of piquing my interest. I'm into that." So now that I have all that information taken care of, I can come over here. So I just used ChatGPT. Um, Nothing special. And I said, provide a resume based on the job description Below, for a person with 5 years experience as a customer success specialist specializing in data analytics, and 3 years as a customer success manager with experience using Asana and Monday project management tools. So Asana and Monday are project management tools. And so I just copied the entire job description in. And then, of course, it gave me the answer and just gave me a tailored resume for a candidate with 5 years of experience as a customer success specialist, data analyst focus, 3 years as a customer success manager with project management experience, Asana, Monday.com, aligned to the project manager level role at LiveCore. And so that's all it did. And I'm of course not going to copy this verbatim. This is somebody else. These are completely different companies. These are just, it's, generic information. But you can use it to just give you an idea of how you should tailor your resume, and you can also look and see if, hey, maybe I forgot something in here. Oh, maybe I forgot I had a certificate, whatever the case may be, or I forgot to add that I translated complex data into actionable insights. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. But it's a good tool to use once you put everything into your own words, just to make sure that you're not missing anything and just to make sure that your structure is good. And then you can ask for obviously a couple different variations of a resume. It doesn't have to look like this. As a matter of fact, I probably wouldn't add all of this, but it just gives you a good idea of how to structure it, and you can look up different types of resumes. Once you get to this point, it's like, okay, now I see that the resume is a little more structured, and I can use this information to beef up parts of my resume that I didn't even think about, or maybe I can just word something a little bit different. So that's all that is. So when I'm looking for a job, I like to think of it in layers. First, I only focus on getting the interview. I don't even think about the interview questions and answers or anything like that until I have an interview locked down. My only goal is to get the interview based on my resume, highlighting the important parts of the job description, and my cover letter that tells a very brief story of why I'm fit for the job. It's easy to find a cover letter sample, so don't freak out about this. Keep it short and sweet by briefly highlighting your experience and a personalized sentence targeting the company you're applying to. A cover letter shouldn't be longer than 3 very short paragraphs. Now, if you have anything like a sample project or a professional website or a professional social media page that you can share to a recruiter or a hiring manager, even better. But if not, no worries. Just figured I'd add that in case you had something else you wanted to share that you weren't thinking about. That's all for now.